to the Real Estate Scripts Podcast, the show that helps you know what to say when you're talking to buyers and sellers so that you can close more deals and earn more money. I'm Darren Tunstall, a real estate professional, coach, and #1 best-selling author. Let's get into this. All right, everybody. Today we are continuing on with Advanced Techniques by Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. And we're reviewing Calibrated Questions, how the 7-38-55, Rule of 3, spotting liars, spot decision makers, using my own name, saying no 4 times, and types of negotiators. We're going to be specifically referring to the topic of buyer offers and negotiations. So enjoy, and we'll see you on the inside. As a reminder, the purpose of Scripts and Dialogues is to come, learn, practice, and be prepared to fail forward. This is where we make mistakes and help each other out, but we're mostly interested in seeing how we can get better. First, we read through the script word for word, and then we go back and put it into our own natural tone, style, and phrasing. You won't know what to say until you go through the script. So, with that said, many people will say, that's not how I sound. And I totally get it. That's not how you sound. But that is the reason why we practice every day, so that the script becomes you and in your own voice. So, read it word for word first, then go back and put it into your own natural tone, style, and phrasing, and I think it'll work out.
She mentioned a refund on a specific day, a specific time with one of my managers. And first I thought, well, that can't be. And then it kind of bugged me. So I got on my cameras at work and I looked at the front desk. And sure enough, this woman came up to get a refund. And my manager never looked up. She had on her readers. And she never even made eye contact with the customer. She gave wrote out the refund, gave it to her, but never ever looked at her or anything. And I think that's too. So, just from her, and this was with no sound, me seeing her body language, she gave the worst customer service ever. And I think that's, that making eye contact, to what Emily said is, if you're not how we do it, it's good practice and everything, but real life, I think, and it's hard for some people to do the weight method. They want, because they say are so experienced, they want to put in their 2 cents before you've really listened to your clients. So you have to really think about listening first.
Debbie, I agree.
No, that is correct. I mean, and at some point, well, I say at some point, we've been doing it for a while now. What I mean by that is, as we practice scripts and become more and more comfortable, eventually a lot of the scripts become the same, right? I mean, we could eventually start to fall into and pull from here, pull from there, and be able to get comfortable where we don't need the words in front of the page. That's why we practice it 2 or 3 times, by the way, which is 1, read it, word for word; 2, put it in your own tone, style, and phrasing; and then 3rd, and that's another thing that I've noticed, that as we've been practicing is 3, 4 different times, it's so much smoother and better. And we even comment on it. How did that go? Oh, it went so much better that way. And it's natural because we practiced it. Is introducing different types of scripts like what we are today, doing the advanced scripts using the Never Split the Difference stuff is, they're a little different, and they require a little bit more attention to thought. And that's very evident, because it is hilarious just listening to some of these comments over and over and over. It's like, golly, man, I don't know what to say, just want to share something with you really quickly. Is we have officially reached 213 downloads.
Nice.
And yep, and we're the next benchmark to achieve is 250, and we have one more episode to go before we're bumped up to the next level, which is awesome. So
I don't think there's anything out there like this.
it's
I
funny
mean, I haven't done extensive research, but I don't think there is.
it's funny you say that, because I have not found something like this either. And really talking about how to do it, like, hey, do it this way, do it that way, say this, say that, but not necessarily conversing back and forth and having dialogue.
Right.
And I think that is so critical for people to hear, for us to go back to and listen to. And, like I said in the description of the podcast, it's a place for people to come, fail forward, make mistakes, and be vulnerable in that way. This is not a perfect world. We are not talking about how to be perfect on this podcast. We are showing people, like, this is a place to come and practice and get better. And that's
No, I think it's more how to be your perfect, because my perfect is different than Debbie's perfect or Kevin's perfect, because we all speak differently.
Yes.
We all pull from different experiences,
Absolutely. We all love snickerdoodles.
Yes, we do. Debbie, do you like snickerdoodles? If you don't, you can't be here.
No, I mean, they're okay, but wouldn't be my first choice or my second or my third.
Oh,
or my
wow.
fourth.
What's your first, Debbie?
Maybe about a 7.
What's your first choice, Deb?
In cookies, the chocolate chip with dark chocolate morsels and nuts in it.
Wow. What kind of nuts? Walnuts?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry,
Kev. Snickerdoodles are out.
That's all right.
Wedding cookies are my second.
Ooh, I like
lemon.
those. Wedding.
No, the wedding cookies.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, they're round and they're coated in powdered sugar, and they have little emulsified nuts in them. Oh my gosh.
All right.
I can't wait for that part.
And what page is that on?
Questions?
Yeah, that section applied to buyer offers and negotiations. And the 3 things that we're looking at are making an offer, speaking with the seller's agent, and objections during offers and negotiations. So those are the 3 categories, and I can visually show you what those look like. Before we get into that, though, let's look at calibrated questions. So control of the conversation. Goal is to suspend unbelief. Calibrated questions to ask for help. Don't use can, is, are, do, does. Questions that can be answered with yes or tiny pieces of information, unless you're purposely using tie downs. I want to add that in there. With what, how, and sometimes, but rarely, why. Only use why when defensiveness it creates in my favor. So why would you ever change from the way you've always done things and try my approach? So that could be said 2 different things. I've listened to the book a few times and heard him speak on this. So the word why can be either defensive, or it can be genuinely asking a why question. And in this case, why would you ever change from the way that you've done things? Or you could say, why would you ever change from the way that you've always done things and try my approach?
Wouldn't you have, instead of open-end questions, maybe just a single answer, like yes or no?
Do, and that's the perfect use of a tie down. In order to get someone answering yes or no, you do want to talk about or ask open-ended questions to get more information, as in if you're fact finding, like for example, the buyer interview sheet or the seller's interview sheet, you want to ask questions up front. Tell me about your home, or tell me about the home that you're looking for. And later on, as you're going through the conversation, when you get to some of those sections with information you might already know about, you are getting them to say, so you're looking for a 3-bedroom and a 2-bath. Is that correct? And you'll get a yes or no.
Right.
Great. Earlier in our conversation, you had said that you want to have quite a bit of land. Is that true? Or is that still right? Or is that accurate? Whatever, however you want to tie it down. So you're getting the yes or no's. And at that point, the use of a tie down is getting them to nod their head, getting them to agree with you. Great, sounds good. Would love to work with you. Go ahead and sign here so that we can get this agreement out of the way and we can start working with each other, whether it's a listing or a buyer. So in this case, where they're calibrated questions or open-ended, what makes you ask? And a lot of these can apply. So if we were going over to make an offer, discourage your buyer from offering too low, handling your buyer's desire for inclusion of seller's personal items, or under speaking with the seller's agent, ask seller's agent about the house history, handling seller agents when the offer is lower than the asking, and are under objections during offers and negotiations, but the seller paid a lot for the house. I want to sleep on it. I misspelled that. I want to sleep on it before making an offer. I want to wait for the price to drop before making an offer. There is a new agent in town who will give me 1% back, and the builder will give me 1% if I work directly with them. So I'll leave that up there so that you know what those talking points are. That's the topics that we're going to stick to. So what makes you ask? What about blank is important to you? How can I make this better for us? How would you like me to proceed? What is that brought us into this situation? How can we solve this problem? What's the objective? What are we trying to accomplish here? And how am I supposed to do that? So can we come up with some real estate examples? Let me rephrase that. What examples can we come up with these calibrated questions? I know they want $850 for that home, but I'd really like to offer $725.
Come up with that price. How would you feel if you were the seller and you're offering $850 and someone came in with $725?
Well, I probably wouldn't take it.
So why would you think that the seller would consider your offer at when it's so low? At several homes, I think you should make an honest offer.
That's a good way of putting it. No, I agree. All right. So Emily, ask Debbie a question.
Okay. We've looked at several homes. Am I asking the how? No.
You're just going to ask her a question that she can come back to you with a calibrated question.
I don't know. I like the house, but I think on it.
What if someone comes in with an offer, a highly qualified offer, when you're taking time to make that offer? I mean, how would you feel if you lost this property?
You're gonna for it. I think I should wait for it maybe to drop a little bit because I think they're asking too much.
What you're saying, but if you remember at the open house, they had about 75 people viewing it, and also more than that saved on their to social media. My fear for you is that if you wait, you might lose out.
So maybe if they're asking $850, do you think I could come in with $775?
I think because it's just the first week, it's only been on the market for a week. that might be coming in a little lowballed just due to the fact at how much interest this property has generated so far in just a week. And if it had been, a month or something, possibly, because they could always counter offer you.
So question, do we all have the Never Split the Difference calibrated questions up in front of us?
Yes.
Okay. So, because
Am I doing it wrong?
No, you're not doing it wrong.
You're on the I want to sleep on it.
Yeah. Well, I kind of jumped around a little bit because it's all negotiations, right?
It's just whatever those are on that page. Negotiations, never speaking with the seller's agent, or objections. Any one of these right here.
Well, I started with objections and then I went up to.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. What I'm looking more for, like when you have an objection, is to come back with a calibrated question versus we don't want to hear too much content in terms of explanation right now. I would rather just keep them short and succinct. For example, what was your question again? Would you rephrase one of the questions?
Well, the first one I said, well, I think I want to sleep on it before making an offer.
Okay, well, that sounds good. Just out of curiosity, what is it that brought you to this decision?
Well, I think I should wait for the price to drop before making an offer.
And if the price doesn't drop, how can we solve that, the not making an offer?
Well,
so it's kind of going back to preparing the buyer to make the offer too.
Right.
Yes. And then I said, so how about if I know they're asking $850, but how about if I offer $775? So I jumped back up to buyer offer negotiations to discouraging your buyer from offering too low.
Emily, how am I supposed to do that? Seriously, and that's a really powerful question. How am I supposed to do that? Because it makes them think, well, just make the offer.
Yeah.
Well,
you're the expert. You negotiate. That's what I hired you for.
Right. That's right. But I've already talked to the agent, the listing agent, and there's no way that they would accept that. So at that point, it's, if that during that situation, it's not even worth submitting the offer, because it's going to get rejected, and you're just spending, coming back to time, you're just spinning your wheels and making offers that we know are not going to get accepted.
Like that lady I had, remember?
Yes. And try it again, and let's keep it short and back to the question, or specifically to the questions. You don't have to read them word for word, but I mean, tailor it to whatever she's saying, obviously. But keep them short and questions back, because you want to keep her talking. You want her to explain to you, Debbie, why she is considering sleeping on it, or why she is considering making a lowball offer.
I think I want to sleep on it before I make an offer.
I'm seeing all the hows. I'm not seeing how to readdress that with saying how.
Okay.
How about what makes you say that?
Okay. So Emily, what made you come to this thought process?
Well, I really just want to sleep on it. Don't you think that's a good idea?
Are you feeling that you would need to take the time to sleep on it?
Unsure if the price is a little high. So, if I were to go in an offer, I'm just waiting for the price to drop.
Why is, remember, he says to rarely use why. He doesn't say not to, but rarely use it, because why typically comes off as being
combative.
Combative, yes.
Yeah.
Well, Emily, what are we trying to accomplish here? I guess that's the bottom line.
Well, how about this, Debbie? Maybe if I go in with a lower offer, I was waiting for the price to drop, but how about if we make an offer for $775? I know they're asking $850, but I really just don't. I'd love the house, but I don't want to go that high.
I think we need to get this right. And with all of the enthusiasm about this property, the right on track, I think we need to make an offer before everyone else does.
Okay.
All right, let's end that there. So,
Sorry about the dogs.
that's all right. Kevin to
Be the agent.
be the agent, correct.
Oh, okay.
So you're gonna have to give some lame excuse, Debbie, as to why you don't wanna sleep on it, why you wanna lowball, why you
Okay.
wanna work with a home builder or something.
Well, Kevin, I've come to the conclusion that I really am thinking of going with an agent who's offered me 1% back on the property. And you're asking, the 6%, that would be saving me, 1 full percent. I'd only be at 5%.
Your perspective. I just think I do have a couple of questions. The first one is, do you care more about
No,
seller?
stick to the calibrated questions on the page.
I start your question, how, what, or what?
Okay.
To know why.
Why do you want to why do you want to do
No
that?
why. No why. Either how or why right now. Either how
How
or what.
What's making you switch? And that you want to
You ask the question and just stop and silence. So what makes you what's making you switch? Or what's
Well,
making you think
I'm early in this process, and we haven't signed any agreements or anything. And if I can save that much, I think it would behoove me to go with the agent that's not going to take so much out of my bottom line.
this? You're not really.
no, stick to the calibrated questions.
How or what?
Look at number 2 specifically, where it says to fill in blank. What about blank is important to you? On, because it's already 9:09 this up, but I want to review some of the things that we have. With that last question, though, it could have been something like, what about working with an agent, with a quality agent is important to you? What about marketing is important to you? What about, stuff like that? Those are just simple questions that you can come back with and discover what they say, and then you can just to review everything. Yes is nothing about how. Calibrated questions, how questions help you guarantee execution. Look for that's right. That's right is something that we discussed yesterday, which is a direct commitment or a direct agreement with you. Don't settle for I'll try. You're right. That means I plan to fail, or those mean I plan to fail. Like I'll try, or you're right, whatever. So phrases to use. How am I supposed to do that? That's one of his really big time go-tos in terms of negotiations. How am I supposed to do that? And like I asked Emily earlier, how am I supposed to do that?
I
Come in
don't
with
like
the
that
lowball
one,
offer.
though. I really don't like
I agree. I don't like it either, because to me, it's saying okay, if you have a realtor, I think as the client, well, you should know how to do that.
Or you should say, why not? I don't think I'm able to do that because they're asking $850. Well, I guess you could say it as, how am I supposed to do that? If they're asking $850, they probably won't even consider an offer at $775. You could
Yeah,
say,
if you embellished.
Well, think about it from the other angle too. If you were a listing agent and somebody called you and said, "Hey, the home is for sale at $850. We're gonna bring in an offer." Well, Emily, I mean, it is a low ball offer. How am I supposed to accept that?
But she could come back and say, because I'm the client and that's what I want.
That's
yeah,
true.
like that lady. I told her, I said, there's no way in this market you're going to get that offer accepted. She's like, well, that's why I want to be first. maybe they'll take the first offer. I'm like, okay.
So in his technique, the way that he
Mhm.
uses, how am I supposed to do that? He repeats it. That's great. You can make another offer, but how am I supposed to accept it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not at asking. It's not even close,
Right.
for that matter. And come up with whatever. Let's read through the rest of this really quickly. Let's see. How will we know we're on track? That's a great one too. How will we know we're on track? How will we address things if we were off track? Influence those behind the table. How does this affect the rest of your team? How on board are the people not on this call? So, for example, if you're talking to one spouse or another, you could say, how on board is your spouse on this, or how on board is, if you're working with the trust situation, is the rest of the family. What do your colleagues see as their main challenges in this area? 55%. We don't necessarily need to review all that, but typically conversations are 7% content, 38% tone of voice, and 55% body and language and face. Rule of three. But let's go to spotting liars real quick, because we wanna learn how to spot a liar.
I know how.
No,
I'm just kidding.
Use What makes you say that? Just kidding.
No, I do too. And actually, working with a lot of people in security, they know how to. And a lot of it does have to do with body language and what
Yeah.
people are doing
And eye
with their eyes and their body.
Yep.
Number one, use more words than truth tellers. That's true. People always want to talk their way through it and try to justify it, right? And second is talk about him, her, it, one, they, are, and their, rarely I, distance from the lie. Okay, so they don't want to take the blame, right?
Yeah.
And lastly is speak in more complex sentences to cover up the lie.
Words, like you said, yeah.
Yep. Spot decision makers, I, me, my, less important in the decision of the outcome. And other pronouns are we, they, them, actual decision makers, leaving options open. Cool. Use my own name. Oh, yeah, this is great. My name is Debbie. What's the Debbie discount? So look, if you work with me, you're going to get the Debbie discount, right? If you work with me, you're going to get the Emily discount. Same. You're going to get the Logan discount. You're going to get the Zimmerman discount. 4 times.
I like the Yonda discount.
The Yonda. The Yonda. How am I supposed to do that? Saying no 4 times. How am I supposed to do that? That's a form of saying no. Your offer is very generous. I'm sorry, that just doesn't work for me. That's another way of saying, like, if you get a lowball offer, your offer is very generous, but it just doesn't work for our clients.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I can't do that. Client calls in, we're going to make a low offer. We're sorry, but I'm afraid our clients are not going to accept that offer. And then I'm sorry, no, just flat out no.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Ways of saying no versus how am I supposed to do that? There's these other ways, and I'm sure we can come up with a whole bunch more too, but these are just examples. Use mirroring and open-ended questions in between. Emphasize 3 times. That's very generous of you. The price is more than fair, and thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
I say that one a lot. Thank you
for
taking the time to talk to me. I always say that.
Yeah. And then this is just a types of, I think that was it. Let me double check real quick. Yeah, types of negotiators. I'm not going to go over all of those, but you can read them on your own. Exercises, not easy to do just yet, but the more that we practice them, we're going to be practicing them once a quarter. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to talking the next time. All right, so that's the script. I hope that you found it very useful. To download the script, just go ahead and head over to realestatescriptspodcast.com. There'll be a link there for you to download the script. This podcast is for the purpose of education only, and it does not make any guarantees. We suggest you seek out the help of your broker, coach, or mentor for specific situations. Brought to you by Darren Tunstall at Repros, California DRE number 018534445.